Hi, I'm Derrick Kaufmann and I'm a partner at Tabax, practicing in the corporate and commercial department. The decision by our state president to declare a national state of disaster on 15 March 2020 brought with it an unprecedented lockdown for all South Africans. The chilling effect that the lockdown has had on businesses is unparalleled. Many businesses are suffering from significant losses during this time, and so business owners are naturally turning to the insurance providers in search of solutions to try and mitigate these losses. In this short clip, I want to touch on two specific types of insurance cover that I think need special mention at this time. The first is your business interruption cover and whether it applies during this time. And the second is your public liability cover in the context of staff and clients and customers accessing your workplace. We have been inundated with queries about whether a business interruption insurance policy responds to the pandemic that is COVID-19, and if so, to what extent. The short answer is sadly no. A business interruption policy will generally not respond to the pandemic. Business interruption cover is a special kind of insurance cover that can be purchased off the back of an existing asset policy, such as an asset all risks, office contents cover, motor vehicle cover, accidental damage, and the like. It generally covers the loss of income that a business suffers as a result of an event that interrupted the operation of that business. It is of course important that you consider the wording of your specific policy in order to determine the extent of your cover. However, most policies provide that in order for your business to be covered, there must first be physical loss or damage to your insured asset, and secondly, the proximate cause of the loss or damage must be an insured peril or event specified under the asset policy, such as fire, water damage, vandalism, or accident. The confusion around whether this cover applies to the current COVID pandemic is because accidental damage cover is sometimes extended to include contagious diseases, creating the impression that the policy responds to the business losses suffered as a result of the contagious disease. This is not necessarily the case, and there are a few reasons why we say this. Firstly, and as I've already mentioned, there needs to be a physical loss or damage to the underlying asset, that is, a contamination in the context of a contagious disease. Secondly, a contagious disease extension often prescribes that the contagious disease must have occurred at or within a limited radius around the premises or asset in question. So, for example, if a business is forced to cease operating and is therefore unable to generate any income, because there's been an outbreak of COVID amongst the staff working at the business premises, then the business owner could potentially claim for loss of income under the contagious diseases extension provided for by the policy. A general lockdown of the community which causes the business to cease operating does not, however, meet the requirements, and it would not be covered by such a policy. It's worth mentioning that insurers who have felt vulnerable under any such extensions have intentionally and methodically started giving notice of cancellation of this cover with limitations on existing claims insofar as it relates to COVID-19. Your window of opportunity to obtain cover of this nature for the COVID pandemic is now certainly almost gone. Of perhaps bigger concern is the systematic lifting of the lockdown and the liability of the business owner who fails to take precautions regarding the spread of the virus at the workplace, that is, to their returning staff and clients and customers. In the circumstances where businesses are allowed to begin operating by virtue of the relaxation of the lockdown, the regulations under the Disaster Management Act have set minimum standards for health and safety that need to be followed by every business. These include cleaning the business premises before reopening, provision of sanitizers and masks, as well as protocols for social distancing, screening, and limitations on the number of persons present at the premises at any given time. But what if a returning staff member or a client contracts the COVID disease while on the premises of your business? Does your insurance respond to any of these claims? The answer to this is it depends. Public liability and broad form insurance is available for businesses and should absolutely be considered by all business owners. Public liability insurance, in the most general sense, covers damages that you're legally liable to pay to a person as a result of an incident that occurred at your premises. If, for example, a person contracts COVID-19 while at the business premises, the liability of the business owner will turn on whether the business was negligent in the steps that it took or failed to take to prevent the spread of the virus. Negligence is an objective test where the business owner will be judged against the standard of the reasonable business owner in the same or similar circumstances to that in which the business owner found himself or herself. The outcome will therefore depend on the circumstances of each case, and non-compliance with the regulations that I mentioned earlier will almost certainly be deemed, amongst other things, to be negligence. If it is determined that the required standard was not met, the business owner will be found to have been negligent and will be liable for damages claimed by the affected person. This, of course, is where your public liability or your broad form insurance liability will assist the business owners, as it will either cover the liability in full or in part if there's a specified cap on the cover that falls below the liability. It may even cover your legal expenses in defending that claim. It is imperative, however, that you revisit your liability policies and consider whether the policies you currently have in place provide adequate cover for the risks that your business is exposed to during these uncertain times. We are available to assist you at any time, and we would encourage you to visit our website at www.tabax.com for more details. Remember to stay safe and be smart.